world.
I'm
It's
just trying
freaking
to see if
hilarious.
this audio is going out live or not because these buttons are messed up again. I
Oh
thought
boy.
we spent like an hour fixing this, and I thought that was all fixed. But I'm gonna see right now.
Okay.
Nope, it's going out live. Hold on.
Looking back, I could never feel fair. The way the music has touched my soul, the way that the South holds its control. But I've got a new way to choose. I'm gonna start running back to the land of new. Oh, na 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 na. take you for your money and whatever else you bring. Well, I don't think I understand why we're making such a fuss, and I don't think I understand what's come of all of us, and I don't think I understand why we take this world for granted. I just want to get right back to Guitar Players Planet. Take me. Guitar Players Planet. 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 Sunny skies, the smell of palm tree air. Looking back, I could never feel fair. The way the music has touched my soul, the way that the South holds its control. But I've got a new way to choose. I'm gonna start running back to the land of the new. Oh, na 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 na. spell.
Hello, everybody. And
Hey!
let me turn off the audio feed. And why do I hear myself? It's driving me nuts. Let me see if I can change this real quick. Oh,
No.
there we go. Can you guys hear me?
There you go.
I can hear you.
Beautiful. Because
Yeah.
now I can't hear. Well, I can still hear myself, but that's okay. Anyway, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the show, and thank you so much for everybody popping in a little early. Actually, we're a little late, and if I'm a little loud, let me know. I moved my microphone to a new spot, and I think I'm blasting everybody's ear out, so let me know.
Sounds good here.
All right, good.
Hey, sounds fine.
So we got Bill, we got Jim's Astro on. Well, Astro with Eric is popped on there, as you can see on the screen, as long as Astro Playground is here as well. So I like to always start these things with some good news. The good news is that I ordered the new shirt with the new logo.
Okay.
And I'm
Cool,
waiting
cool.
on the new shirt to come in before I put it out for general consumption to make sure it's okay. I'm
Okay.
not expecting anything crazy. The colors look really good, so I think they did a good job. And then once we take a look at it as a group, and if we like it, then I'm going to make it available to anybody that wants one. Obviously, it's not free, but I'll put it on the website and with the price and the shipping and whatever, and you could order. Now, just so you know, I'm doing bulk orders, so once we hit 12, because that's when it lowers the price down a little bit, then I'll place the order. So it may take a little while for the first order. So don't expect it next day if you're on Long Island. It's not going to happen.
So, are we talking right now? Are we just focused on polos for right now, or are these T-shirts, or are we just focused? These are primarily just polos.
Right now, it's just polos right now, and
Okay.
the design. It took a little while to get the design down at Stitch America. The shirts we could do no problem, but that's going to be, a T-shirt that's kind of like pressed. It's not silk
Right.
screened or stitched. We could do that
Exactly.
no problem, and that will be significantly cheaper. But I'm going to throw the pens, the mouse pads, and all the other stuff on there, because now that the image is approved, we'll be on the roll there. So
Nice.
Did we settle on a second image?
Oh, we did not yet.
Okay.
That's something we need to talk about offline, I think.
Okay.
But the logo, it looks great. Actually, I got a picture of it, I think.
Yeah, you sent me the proof. It did look good.
And let's see if I can find it. I know it's in my Google Drive, I think. Photos. Yeah, here we go. And I'll share my screen. And I got nothing. All right, 31.
Got the clock.
Too. There we go.
There you go.
So that's what it's going to look like stitched.
Yep.
So it looks pretty good. I think they matched the colors quite nicely, actually. A lot better than Vistaprint did with this, because believe it or not, the shirt that I have on now with this orange telescope is actually red, like that telescope is, on the JPG. So they weren't able to match it as well. I think part of the benefit of doing it through Stitch America is that they have a larger supply of colors and color stitches.
Sure.
So they're able to match it a lot better. So I think it looks great. So that's going to be coming out soon. I know that we got some people that are booked for guest spots on the show. We have in August, we got P. Proul coming from IP for AP and Masters of Pix Insight, and he's got a nice announcement that he's going to be. It's an AstroWorld exclusive. That so he's gonna. So you wanna be here when the day comes. It's gonna be sometime in August, but it's gonna be one. I'll give you a hint. It's one Wednesday in August. So
It's one of the Wednesdays in August.
So one of those days you're gonna want to come and hang out with Pete, because Pete's actually a very cool guy. And he's got a lot of information, and he does all the Masters of Pix Insight stuff, which is great. Then in September, we have Pete Myers, formerly of Optical Structures, and now with Woodland Hills. And he's going to come on and hang out with us as well and talk about the custom rigs he's been making, not only for our own Scott Cole, but for other people as well. So I think that's going to be an interesting time. And the last thing, of course, is the Southern Sky Challenge, and we're off to a abysmal start. We have 0 donors right now, so we got a big goose egg for Etta Karina.
What?
Yeah, big.
Oh man.
So maybe I need to promote it a little bit better.
Narrow.
I did a lot better promoting for the first one, and I think I got to do it a little bit more as we get closer. But just for those, I think there's 7 people on there. I think they all know what we're doing. But just in case, really quick, what we do is every quarter or so we do an astrophotography challenge. And we pick a target and rent telescope in the southern hemisphere. And it gives us that are in the mid-northern latitudes a chance to play with the data from the southern hemisphere, such as we did Tarantula last quarter, and now we would like to do Etta Karina, and then in fourth quarter, we started this whole thing for, it's coming back around, the Dragons of Ara. Yeah.
Yes.
So I think that's going to be so awesome, but the more donors that we have, the more data we're going to get. And it doesn't have to be thousands of dollars. It doesn't have to be hundreds of dollars, 25, 50, whatever. All the money goes to imaging time on iTelescope. And I believe we either did telescope 20 or 21, and I think 9 was thrown in the mix too. But
Yeah,
take a look
just so
and
we can
tell
fit
us.
everything in there.
Yeah, because it's such a big target, man.
So we had to get a smaller aperture. We had to get a smaller aperture to fit. We had to go wide. You know,
Yeah,
and so
and it's going to be the same thing for the Dragons as well.
yep.
And I mean, there's so much awesome dust around that area. I mean, you're going to want to get as much as you can, and it's going to be kind of cool. Um, so I think that's all for updates. Now that's about me blabbering for 10 minutes. Um, I think what we want to do tonight is, I've gotten a lot of questions regarding some software and some sequencing software. So I kind of put this together at the 11th hour. Eric is going to kind of walk us through a little bit what he does with the ASI Air and its suite sequencer. Scott, if you want, I'll load up. I have my Eagle up already, so I could load up Sequence Generator Pro, and you can kind of go through your sequence, and I can share my screen. And then I'll go through, lastly, my trials and tribulations switching from SGP to Nina. Um, I think that's really about it. Just really quick, any comments? Nothing really. Jim's hello. Bill's got a customer. And Bill Powell said good background tunes. So, well, I will take that as a personal thank you because that's all my band from, I guess, 91, 92, somewhere around there. So that music is getting to be 30 years old next year. That's scary.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's scary.
Yep.
Shit, I'm old. But anyway, that being said, Eric, why don't you take us through a little bit about your process with the ASI Air up to, I guess, setting up a sequence and talk a little bit about the calibration frames that you take during your sequence.
Yeah, sure. ASI Air, or ZWO rather, they have done a lot of great upgrades to the ASI Air. They have they've improved several features, such as they've improved their polar alignment setup, which is that's much easier to do. They've also done added multi-star guiding, similar, when PhD2 came out with multi-star guiding, everybody was screaming that they wanted it. And we noticed a huge change in how guiding was done and how easier and how much better guiding got using the multi-star format. So ZWO, they added that feature into the ASI Air Pro, as well as plate solving. They've improved plate solving. You can now, in the past, you weren't able to plate solve certain sensor sizes to a long focal length. They've corrected that now. I'm using native focal length, for example, of the Edge 8. 2032 millimeters of focal length. I can plate solve that with the ASI 294 mono, and it's been great for that. And they've also added planning, as well as you can also do video for planetary. But so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you ASI Air using the Android emulator BlueStacks. So let's bring it up. So let me share my screen here. And let me know when you guys can see my screen.
Yeah, it's there.
Okay, cool. So, um, so like I said, one of the features is planning now, and you can also do a live stacking as well as video for planetary. And of course, and they've also had they have preview, focusing aids as well as polar alignment. So in order to start up a sequence, you simply go to plan, and I have a couple that I'm already working on, but you can, here in the settings, you can give a plan name. I'm using the date of my project, and you can have certain features that you can start up, such as you can start guiding, make sure that that's going, and it'll start um, auto guiding when the plan starts. You can make sure that it does an automatic meridian flip, and it has a timer where you can set it to start now, or you can say start at a particular time, and it's set by the 24, but set by 24 hour instead of 12 hour. So it's done by 24 hour, minutes and seconds. And when the plan is done, you have options here, such as you can turn off your cooler to save the cooler on your fan, go back to your home position. You can set your electronic autofocuser back to the 0 position. I personally don't do that. I want to keep it right where it is, and even shutting down the ASIR. So you have that, then you have a reset, and you have a list here. You can add multiple plans. So you can have, I don't know how many additional plans. You can choose whichever plans you want if you've had them originally set up. And for this plan, I was doing the fireworks nebula, but I'm going to go and do this. If I go to add, so if I wanted to add on another target, because you can do multiple targets on a single plan. So if I wanted to add another target, I would simply click the plus button here, and then I could choose another target. I could enter it in manually, or very similar to Sky Safari and how their setup is for their objects. You can choose tonight's best, your favorites, or what have you. Okay, so for example, I'm just going to go here into tonight's best and just choose something. So I'll choose this first one here, SH2103, and then it gives me data as far as based its altitude information and when it's going to hit zenith, and when it's going to start its descent, and it gives you a time frame. So that helps you better plan that your sequence. And then this little line here, I believe that is the setting for around blue hour or astronomical twilight. So you know when when dark is, when the sun is supposed to set and go away. So if we go ahead, we'll select one, and then you go to choose, and you give it a name, and then you can actually set a delay of when your sequence starts. If you want to, that first image, and it gives you the RA and declination. And here is where you start entering in your information as far as your exposures. So you create a new sequence. You can choose either light, bias, flat, or dark, and you give it certain exposures. And right now, I believe it goes up to, I believe it's 1,000 or something, or is it 600? 900 rather. But if 900, if you wanted to go longer, you'd simply can click the edit button right here and actually type in your exposure time that you want. So you can manually choose or type in however long you want it to run. If you're using a filter wheel like I am, you can select your filter for that sequence and how much you want and how many times you want that exposure to run. And this is also manual, so you can also put in a manual. You can manually enter in a number of how many times that sequence should repeat, and your binning. And you can do the same thing for your biases, your flats, and your darks. Now, when it comes to flats, it's a little they have what they call the automatic the auto flat, where you can actually select flat here, and you can actually choose auto. And the computer within ASI Air will take usually like a 10-second exposure and then calculate the best, or what it figures is the best ADU for that particular, say, filter. And it will automatically set that. And then all you need to do is enter in how many exposures you want. And for dark flats, once you have this exposure, you can simply go to dark, and then if you hit this button, if you hit it here, you can manually enter in that same flat number. So if I wanted to go here for my lights, I would go, say, I want to do 30 at, say, 300 second exposure, min 2, and then I go okay, and then I can continue doing this for each of my filters. And when it's doing that, it gives you information as far as when it expects the sequence to start and when it's expected to end. So right now it's looking at expected to start at 2024, which is around what our time is right now, and supposed to end it just before midnight. And you can continue to add sequences for each of your filters. And then you can go ahead and click OK for that and just keep doing that. And then once it's done, you have that set, it's checked, and now you've added that to that particular plan. So once this is done, you can then simply back to the main screen. You can make sure you set your gain, because one thing that it would be kind of nice that I think they may be working on is setting up something where you can, in the plan, where you can set your gain. But they don't do that yet, so you have to actually go into the camera and set your gain within the camera settings.
So you have to set your gain based on each plan at this point, right?
Yes. So based off of each plan, you set your gain, and you turn on your cooling, and make sure that that's all ready to go. And then you go back to your main. And then what I also do is I will also set up with my during this plan and this sequence, I will go to the autofocuser, for example, and for autofocus,
I still think that looks like a Canon.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. So, and then for focuser, you would go into your autofocus settings and go to autofocus, and then in here is where you would set up your autofocus. And usually, I would set mine up as part of my plan. I would turn on before starting the object, so it would do an autofocus. Sometimes I also just do the autofocus manually and turn that off, and then that way it's saving a little bit of a step, and I can just start the plan and it's already on the filter I want, and I can just go ahead and start, the image session after guiding is started. Nice. One thing I also do is I do this on every session. I'll go into the guide, and here in the information, the calibration data, I will actually click the clear button. And I will actually let it go through a calibration at every time.
Every object,
I'll have it start, every object. Yep. I'll have it start off every night. I will just clear out my calibration data, and I'll do another calibration every night before I start imaging.
Okay. So now, let me ask you a question. Would you, if you're imaging something on multiple nights, the same object, would you continue doing another calibration, or would you save it and use it?
No, yeah, I would save it and use that because once I calibrate it, once I do my initial calibration for the night, then I just let it go. Then I
No,
say,
I mean
okay, it's
like
calibrated.
I guess tomorrow night you're imaging the same thing. Would you
Hmm.
recalibrate or
I
use the one
tend
from the night
to,
before?
you can, but I tend to just do it every night.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
So because you just never know. I don't want to take a chance on there being some sort of an issue, and I'm not noticing, or say my the RA for some or deck is for some reason starts going askew. So I just do the I just clear the calibration every night. Um, so and then when that is done, then if I go back, so once that's all done and it's actually guiding, it'll probably start already guiding. I will go ahead and press this button here to start, and the plan will verify that I want to start guiding. I want to do an automatic meridian flip, everything that I had set in the plan settings originally when I was setting up my sequence. And then all I do is then I click start. So I'll click cancel here. So it's kind of nice that I can go in here and I can actually, if I go into settings, I can actually plan when I want to start my sequence. That's really good. And also when it ends, I can also go either when plan ends, when it's astronomical morning light, when it hits, which is right now, it's calculated that 3:32 in the morning is when the first light will start.
Ugh.
Or I can actually say end at whatever time. So I usually have it set for when the plan ends. And then what I usually do is I work my exposures
Around the end.
around that, around the time where I kind of know that, okay, usually about 4 o'clock, at least for this time of year,
Yep.
and say, okay, in that way I just fit in that number of exposures. So yeah, and so like I said, I'll just look at this data here and add on exposures until I get to a certain time. And then I can go back in here and adjust accordingly until I get to that particular time. Because if I go here and I say I do another one, if I did RLR, G and B, and I did OK, as you can see, the time increases of when it's
You got a
expected.
question from Jim's Astro. He said he might have missed it, but where can you change the bidding?
Oh, you change the binning when you in the plan here. You would change your binning right here. So when you're at your sequence, you would choose your light or whatever type of exposure you're doing, and right here is where you would select your binning, and then simply click OK.
Now, can you do that on the fly, or do you have to do that before you start the plan?
You have to do it before you start the plan.
Okay.
So anytime there is, say, a particular issue or anything like that, and you have to pause the plan, you have to actually, while it's running, you have to actually stop it or pause the plan, go back to your settings, and then if you want to begin again, if you have to restart, you have to reset your plan. So right here you would do reset. But if it turns out that there's no real problem and you want to continue, you can just hit this button again and it'll stop and resume imaging. It'll stop from going from pause, and basically it's like a pause and play button. I always dither, so you have your dither settings in the guide settings here. This is the guide settings, and I'm using my OAG right now. But
Okay.
here, right at the very bottom, is where you have your dither settings, and you turn it on here. You set the number of pixels that you want, as far as your random direction, your spacing as far as your interval. And if you want to just dither an RA, I don't know why you would, but if you want to, you can, and you would turn that on here. But so basically I have mine set where I dither every 5 images or exposures, and I have a movement of 5 pixels.
Okay.
So pretty much right there in the middle. So basically, as far as the plan goes, that's it. But prior to that, if you need to, for myself, I will do all of my focusing, verify my focusing. So I'll go here to focus and begin my focus. Then I would point to a bright star, usually Vega or whatever else is out there that I can hit, and do a go to that particular star. And I would begin my focusing at bin 4.
Okay.
And begin that, and I usually have it set to the exposure every 5 seconds, so it's like almost like a live, and like a live auto run where it just continually rolls every 5 seconds, and that way I can see the star, and then I can make my adjustments as necessary.
Nice.
Then and then I can do my polar alignment if I need to. And this was prior to plan happening. This was the original setup for your sequence. You would do what's called auto run, but now they have the plan, so that's pretty much what I do now.
Oh, so they changed. I haven't touched an ASI Air in about a year, so I remember it had the auto run button, so it's now called the plan.
Yeah, so now you can do plan, but auto run is basically if you still have version 1 of the ASI Air, like the original ASI Air. That doesn't, I don't believe you can do a plan in the ASI Air, in the original ASI Air. So that's why they still have auto run here.
Gotcha.
And I know they don't have live stack or video in the original.
Yeah.
Those aren't available. But I also believe plan is not available in the original ASI Air either. So that's why they still have the auto run. Right
Yeah,
here.
I want to say they only had the top 4, if I remember right, and then
yes,
and that was it.
Because originally it was just focus, preview, and auto run. They didn't
actually
have a
focus
PA.
was focus even there? No, focus wasn't there. They had polar alignment. They didn't have the autofocus.
No, it was the other way around, bud. So
really?
they had
Okay.
This is new. Yeah. So focus was there, preview was there, and auto run, but PA was the next big thing. Was that ZWO came out with. That was like their one big update until now it's just the last big update that they did on the that was applicable to the original ASI Air. Is when they added NPA.
Actually, I'm sorry, I never had I had the original for about a week, and then the next one I had was the first edition of the Pro.
Gotcha. Yeah, now Pro has everything here, and they just keep cranking out updates to make improvements, and which is great. So it's really, really cool. And actually, I turned my cooler on, and it doesn't need to be on, so I'm going to turn it off. I've actually got it. I've got my mount. It's all covered up because it was raining outside.
Nice.
And it's under the gizmo.
Nice.
So yeah, but that is basically how you would run a sequence, and how you can also do multiple targets in one night is by going and doing a plan.
Yeah.
And it's also kind of nice there because you have everything set up so you can continue on with that plan for the next night or for the following night, or if you want to do a particular target or targets on consecutive nights, you can do that. So it's really, really good on that. And with the EAF, having that set to do its autofocus at the beginning of every either filter change or at the beginning of any starting of your sequence, that's really cool to have that already set there. So it's really automated a lot of stuff. So you can simply take your dust cap off, make sure you're balanced and aligned, and you can then just hit the play button, and then it'll start based off of the time you say start. And all you got to do is just chill out and just take a look and make sure everything is going well.
Yeah. I mean, I got to say something about the ASI Air and the simplicity of of just the operating system itself and how they were able to coordinate PhD guiding, plate solving, and all that.
Yes.
Polar alignment, all into this $300 package. And they did such a good job with it. And it's no bigger than a credit card in length and width. Depth, it's a computer, so it's about 2 inches.
Yeah, so it's basically like the size of a deck of cards, basically.
Yeah, maybe two decks of cards.
Yeah, maybe two decks. Yeah.
But it's really small, and for the price point, I mean, for what it does, you can't beat it. I mean, it's really good. Yeah, Jim, I think you're right. I think it went on sale for $249 or $279.
Yes, they have a ZWO is having a sale right now.
Yep.
And so I believe it's originally was around $280 and now it's around what, $250?
I think it's $249. Yep.
$249. Okay. So that's really so right now if you want to grab one, you can take advantage of that right now. And I also like how they have the image management set up. So for example, here's my plan and I can take a look at my darks, my flats, and my lights. And one thing that was really cool about the light setup is, if I open one up here, is these little features here where you can actually detect a star and it'll calculate the HFD to give you an idea of what your average star size is. I think that's great. And to annotate, so it lets you know if it's in the catalog, it'll let you know where your target is or where that object is, which is really cool. You can actually I believe, with this setting versus preview, if you have this picture, you can actually do a go-to, and it'll plate solve this picture.
Yep.
And go to that target.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. And then you can also do a few things here, renaming the image, deleting or saving it. But it's a nice kit. It really is. But as we talked before, it's for ZWO products. I mean, you have to stay in the ZWO ecosystem if you expect everything to run.
Yeah, the only caveat to that is some DSLRs will work. The mirrorless won't. Yeah. But everything else will. Nikon, Canon.
Yeah, Nikon, Canons work. Sony's will not. And there's but they're bringing out more and more DSLRs that are more and more mirrorless. They're adding them to their drivers to the list. So it's really nice.
Yeah, the mirrorless DSLRs. Really, a lot of people went up. I guess Scott went to the bathroom, but there he is. I thought he was sleeping. There he is.
He was dozing.
He was just hanging out, sleeping.
He was just hanging out because it's like ASIR. That's not mine, man. So I'm just gonna take a snooze here real quick.
Yeah. So
wake me up when it's ready to go.
All right. So. So that's the ASIR. I don't think. Let's see. The problem is we don't have only ZWO cameras, so it's not easy to use one device that is not compatible with other brands.
Yes. That's one of the things is that the ZWO ASIR is designed. They built it to work with only their products, unlike an Eagle. Where it's basically that's like a mini Windows 10 computer, so you can use SGP, Nina, PhD, so you can use everything you would on a desktop or laptop. You have that within the Eagle. And the other one that's very similar to the ZWO ASIR is the StellarMate.
Don't do it.
But I would not recommend the StellarMate. They use K-Pass
K-Stars.
and a couple other K-Stars. Thank you.
K-Stars.
Thank you. K-Stars and a few other things. And it's not very good.
Go see my
Um,
video on the Stellamate unboxing, and you get a really good sound bite of it hitting a wall. So I was so frustrated by it. I was just like, it's no wonder why that didn't take off. It was pretty
right.
bad.
Yeah.
But Jim is asking, how good is the Wi-Fi on the ASIR?
The Wi-Fi, actually, the Wi-Fi, it isn't the greatest, to be honest with you, because it is a metal case. The Pro is a metal case, which hinders that antenna. But you can purchase a Wi-Fi extender. They did make a Wi-Fi extender for the ASIR. ZWO made one, and you can use that. I've seen a lot of pictures and within Facebook and ASIR's own group and others where people have actually opened up and
Yeah,
modified the case so they can add an antenna
on the outside. Yep.
on the outside. So they've done that. Myself personally, I use an Ethernet cable. I mean, I'm just lucky enough that I can run a um, a Cat 6 outdoor rated Ethernet cable from my backyard into my basement into my router, and I can run everything right here at my desk.
Yeah.
So if I really wanted to, so
Yeah.
which makes things right nice because my router is just just in the other door right over
Yeah,
here.
George was just commenting on the hack for the ASI. I'm sure we all saw it, where they literally opened up the case, added the port to put a
Yes,
little mini Wi-Fi antenna on the
antenna.
outside. Now
Just
this
FYI,
channel
that
is,
will void your
yeah,
warranty.
yeah.
So
If you
just an
don't know what you're
FYI, do it
doing,
at your own risk.
yeah, we are not condoning that. We're not telling you to do it. However, if you have the know-how and are worried about throwing away $250 if you break it,
Mhm.
that's up to you.
Another thing that I learned is with the Wi-Fi, you can use your tablet or your iPhone or iPad. I had some trouble with with my iPhone and iPad to connect to the wireless when I was in New Mexico.
Okay.
Okay. So, but I didn't, and I had no idea. Then I was tinkering around and I realized I had the cellular data feature turned
Yep.
on my iPad.
Yeah, it's got to be turned off.
So it has to be turned off. And then once I turned it off, it works just fine.
Yeah. All right. So that's the ASIR, and that is one of the main sequencing hardware and software units that is out there at a really decent price points at $249 right now, normally $279, but it's really good. Tarek just said, I don't have that ASIR, so how much can it resist the heat or humidity and weather issues, and how long the internal heat is holding up, because my Raspberry
Your
Pi
Raspberry
is coming
Pi.
with a fan.
That's a good
So
question. I honestly don't know, but I've had, like I said, people have modified their ASIRs, and they have put them sometimes added fans and done other
yep.
things. Um, Here in, I believe Tarek, maybe I think it's Tarek. I think you're in the UAE. I'm not sure, but here in where I live, it can get humid. Really, in the Midwest, we can get crazy humidity where I'm
Yep.
at. We can get up towards 70, 80% humidity, and it's just awful. And then we have those high heat indexes, and I have run the ASIR in those situations where it's like in the 90s, um, and which I guess in Celsius that's like in the mid 20s. Um, and it's worked. It's done well in those
Yeah.
situations. So yeah, I mean, it can work. It just and Jason, he lives in Arizona
Yeah. Yeah.
where it
That's a good
hits,
test.
where it hits over 100 degrees.
Yep. And I think that's more of what Tarek's atmosphere is like. He's in the United Arab Emirates, and it's hot.
He's saying like 35 degrees Celsius at night, which is crazy hot, and it's about 80-90% humidity, which we have the humidity. You know, here in Illinois and in the Midwest, we don't have the heat like you have, Tarek, or like Jason has, but his works fine in that high heat. But I have the humidity, and I can get some of that high heat like in the 90s, and it does work. It still works well.
I'm looking to see what 35 Celsius might be. I mean, I never went that high. That's 95 at night.
Yeah,
so
that's crazy hot.
That means it's what, 120, 130 during the day.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't even want to guess, but that's crazy. But yeah, so let's run over to Scott. Scott, I know you've been playing with Sequence Generator Pro. I have it loaded up on my side. I don't know if you have it on your computer. If not, I could always share my screen. But there you go.
Yeah, no, it's on my Eagle.
That's fine. Actually, I'm set up for imaging tonight, but it looks like somebody bought something because it was 0, all dark blue across the entire night. And I just tried to plate solve, and I went outside, and I don't see a star. So it could be
the Canadian wildfires.
We're getting some of that. Like it was weird. Monday night, it was like I saw stars, but then when a plane went across, the plane looked like it was fogged out. It was so weird. It was because of the smoke that was coming across from Canada and Oregon. And it's just horrible. But
Tegan was talking about that.
What's that?
Tegan was talking about this.
Yeah, it's bad.
Cincinnati.
You know, Eric, you probably got it a little worse than we do in New York. But I mean, it's.
I'll be honest with you. It wasn't that bad where I am. I know in Wisconsin and up north, it was really bad. But here, just below where I'm at, it wasn't too bad. I know Chicago, it was, it was noticeable, but it wasn't as bad as I thought. I was still able to image on Monday.
Gotcha.
And get some decent images.
Gotcha. All right. So let's take a look at one of the programs that a lot of people use. And let me get rid of the screen. And Scott, if you want to kind of go over your process with SGP, and I'll kind of follow along on the screen if I could.
Yeah, one of the things that's important also to note is that I haven't been able to image in months. I've had a few hit and miss, chances and such, but with the problem that I had with the CGXL and the weight issue.
Yep.
And then waiting on this new rig and getting it up and running. And then the weather has just been prohibitive. I just have not, if I get a clear night, it's full moon. If it's dark, I got clouds. I've been having the absolute worst luck. I think we've probably gotten 45 days of rain up here, since summer started. It's just been it's been insane. So I haven't been able to image.
Sooner than that, we gotta say Scott is going on a little hiatus for at least a couple of months while he relocates to the lovely Tampa area of Florida, because Scott's gonna be doing his thing with the fam, and he'll be back, I hope.
Oh yeah, it's just a matter of the relocation, and that's going to be a real challenge. I've been up here for since I was 3 years old, so leaving this place. I've been 50 years. I've been rooted here, so there's a lot to do to get down there, and it's just going to be a real challenge. To be honest, I'm not even sure if I'm going to be able to set the scope up again until I get down to Florida.
Yep.
There's just so much to do that I just don't think I'm going to have the time to dedicate to it. However, with Sequence Generator Pro, I do like Sequence Generator Pro. I haven't gotten completely used to it. I'm still learning the little intricacies, but I do like how it's got some of the the codes that you can put in that you can apply to each sequence so that it has the your settings set up in those codes. The little you remember when you helped me set that up, Dan?
Yeah.
So
the first thing that really would see is the framing and mosaic wizard. I think is one of the things that you might want to go over.
Phenomenal. Yeah, that's phenomenal. I actually like using the mosaic wizard, the framing and mosaic wizard, in conjunction with like either Telescopius or Astrobin. And so I'll find a target that I like, and then once I know the kind of imaging that I want to do, and whether or not my rig will handle it, I'll go into the framing mosaic wizard and pull it up and enter in my particular telescope parameters, and it will tell me at a particular rotation what the frame is going to look like and how much I have to actually rotate my camera in order to fill that frame. And that's really actually quite nice, because you take a picture and you rotate a little bit. This is okay. You need a little bit more, so you keep going until you get that sweet spot, and then you lock it in, and you're good to go.
Yeah, I actually have a sequence generator. I know you can't see this. I don't know if you're watching the live view, but I have sequence generator on the screen right now.
Yeah, I see it.
Oh, okay, I wasn't sure if you saw it in the green room. So.
Yeah, it's in the green room.
Okay. Oh, great. I didn't know. So basically, what you would put in. Now, this is always, if you want to know how to set up Sequence Generator Pro, feel free to go to my setup videos on Sequence Generator Pro on AstroWorld on YouTube, and it'll talk about the background stuff. There's a lot to do. It's not as easy as the ASI that Eric kind of went into, but this is made for multiple cameras, multiple rigs, and it's a little more
profiles.
Yeah, it's a little more crazy. It's a little bit. Mm-hmm. I don't want to say it's a little bit more functional because they really do the same things. They really do.
Yeah.
Actually, Eric, I lost your audio, Eric. Hold on a second. Why can't I hear Eric?
But yeah, setting up the individual profiles, for a particular telescope, or telescope and camera setup, OAG setup, whether or not you're running, what kind of filters you're running, whether you're running an automated filter setup or manual filter setup, what kind of mounts you're running, and all of the specific information as it relates to the ASI, not ASIR. Oh, I see, I got it on my brain. No, the ASCOM drivers.
Correct.
So like with my my Rainbow, the Rainbow mount, it has its own ASCOM drivers that are the Hubo I is the one from South Korea, and but that ASCOM driver shows up in SGP.
Yeah, it's the same thing like I have on the screen as well. You got all these. I have in my sequence. I have all these ASCOM drivers. Some of them I use. Some of them are default. So I don't have all these cameras. So let's not. I don't have all this. But to Scott's point, if I'm using my QHY camera, this is the one for that, and then I would click on it. And I would make sure all the settings are right. So I'd make sure that the angle's right, the pixel size is right, my image scale is correct from my telescope to my camera,
Yep.
and I would set all that. Now I don't want to get too crazy into the background settings of this because we could spend days.
Yeah,
on,
you can
yeah.
spend days in SG.
Yeah, you could literally.
If
There's a really good video out there, not by me. There's a bunch of good videos out there that go under each tab for like 40 minutes. So you know, if you want to do that, that's fine. Basically, you got camera, your filter wheel, your focuser, your scope, your plate style settings, your auto guiding, and they added just recently switches. So if you're just for example, the Eagle has ASCOM drivers now. You can have it shut down the Eagle at the end of a sequence, whereas before you had to leave it on all night. So
now, don't they also have something here just for observatory?
what for
They have
to
observatory
automate?
settings.
Yeah. Don't they have like observatory settings so you can even
Yeah.
automate so it'll work with?
Right. So
Your
that, believe it
observatory
or
automation?
not, is not in the equipment profile manager. You actually have to go under your docking modules.
User
and
settings, right?
go under observatory.
Yep.
And if and when that pops up, actually, I did it actually incorrect. But I'm on my pants with my mouse, so my mouse is acting a little funny. And observatory, come on. Do I have that on here already?
But yeah, no, I would just ask because I do
Yeah,
recall
so-
they have different types of stuff. Like for observatory, your flat panel, or if you had a flat box or a flat panel,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
got stuff for that.
That's actually under other. So when you go under equipment profile and go under
Accessories.
other, it'll say, oh, here's your observatory. I'm sorry. It's under other as well now. So your flat box, if you have an ASCOM controlled flat box, you could use any of these. The Pegasus Flatmaster, the Arteski, the All on the Tech, all of those that have ASCOM drives, you could use that. If you have an ASCOM rotator, at one point I had the Moonlight, so that's why that's there. And if you have an observatory, and they all come with ASCOM drivers as well. So if you have, let's say, one from what is it? The Innovations, Telescope Innovations. They have their ASCOM drivers for their dome. If you have any safety monitors or environmental control, you could use that as well.
Yes, it is crazy involved. It's
Yeah.
crazy detailed as
Yep.
far as the different types of devices and you can run out of this software.
Yeah. Yep. And let me get out of that real quick.
And it's even tied to PhD. You can even run your PhD, or it's get tied to PhD right
Yeah.
in here as well.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
And
tied to it.
right here is your PhD graph.
Yep.
So you're able to look at that as well. But the real seller to this to me is that Tools and Mosaic wizard. The framing.
The frame mosaic wizard. Yeah.
And the best thing about this, so if I choose M42, okay, and I hit fetch, it's going to come up with a picture of M42. Looks a little overblown because it's done by DSS, but it knows your chip size, it knows your focal length. You already put all that stuff in there. So all you got to do is drag a little rectangle and position it to where you want it to frame. And if you have a rotator, you can rotate the picture to the way you want it framed. So let's say for this example, we want it like that. Something like that. If you want a mosaic, all you have to do is make more panels.
Yeah.
If you want even a crazier mosaic, because you want that horse head, there you go.
There you go.
It's only going to take you 3 years to get it, but
Oh yeah,
there it is.
you know, I'd rather have a smaller focal length scope than the 127, but that's the theory behind it, and then all you do at that point is create your sequence.
Yeah. Rumor has it that ZWO is actually maybe looking at something similar. I can't confirm that. It's just from what I hear here and there amongst
Yeah,
other people. But that would be interesting if they
heard
ended
but
up doing
unconfirmed.
some sort of that's totally unconfirmed. So if they did something like that, that would be crazy.
Yeah.
Do some sort of framing and mosaic wizard.
I'm telling you, that'd be awesome, and you could save your like if you take a look at my sequencer, I have all these images because I've been using SGP for a long time. So this is all with the 127 and the QHY camera. So
Wow.
So it's a lot of stuff. So if I wanted to do the Leo Trio, I go there, and the Framing a Mosaic Wizard already saved the picture that I want to take. So I just go, set up my
settings.
Yep.
lights, dark, flats bias, or flat darks. What filter? How long? And how many?
Yep.
That's
Yep.
it. Run sequence. Make sure, obviously, all your equipment
Everything's
is connected.
turned on. Right.
But and then you hit run sequence and you go to bed.
Yeah. Pretty
Yeah.
much.
Scott?
Yeah. I'm just saying the the initial setup on that is really nice. If you click on that, a particular target, there's a little wheel, a little icon that shows up. Yeah, there you go. And you click on that bad boy, and it'll say, okay, you want to slew to that. And so you go ahead and slew to that target, and then center on it, and it'll run through a whole plate solve series, on that. And sometimes it gets it pretty quick. Sometimes it takes it a few minutes, depending on your conditions. But for the most part, the plate solve is rock solid, especially if you've already got your libraries downloaded.
Yep.
And maybe talk a little bit about that too. That there's different libraries for different circumstances. Sometimes if you're constantly connected to the internet, you use one set of libraries. But if you're going to be out in the field where there's no connectivity, you have to download your libraries to the memory. And
Yes.
Right.
So there's a couple different plate solving programs for online. The one that I use a lot is what is it? Plate Solve 2.
plate solve
Yeah.
too. Yeah. that's what I
And
use.
there are some people that like All Sky Plate Solver, which is not a bad one either because it doesn't make you download all of the sky charts and the different
Right.
type of fields of view that you have for different telescopes. It'll allow you to only download the maps and the resolution. Not the resolution, but the field of view that you need for your scope and your camera. So you could say, okay, I need these 5 directories, and that's all I need. With All Sky Plate Solver, you can do that, but with Plate Solve 2, you need to download 2 star catalogs. You need the UCAC3 and what was the other one? The APM. Both of those you need. Now, to Scott's point, if you're offline and you don't have access to the internet, you could download something called ANSVR. And that doesn't stand for virtual reality. It just stands for something else. I have no idea. But it downloads everything based on your focal length and your chip size. So in case you do lose connectivity, you won't be out of luck.
Stuck.
Yeah, you won't be out of luck with that. So download ANSVR, set it up as a blind failover, and then hopefully, most of the time, most places now have some sort of internet connection. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a question
that's one of the
over
big
here.
advantages.
Yeah,
That's one. I was just gonna say that's one of the big advantages of having, I don't know, a system like the Eagle, the Eagle Pro, where it has
Hmm.
a pretty substantial internal memory.
yeah,
Is that you can do that, and it's not going to hurt the system. It's not going to the
Right.
system isn't going to suffer, because there's a huge file in there.
yeah,
So
yep.
Jim Astro was asking, do you know of any pro-level observatories that use SGP?
I don't
Doesn't
know.
NextDome have ASCOM drivers? The NextDome?
Um,
I
pro-
think it was like for like its rotator.
I think what he's asking is that, like, does like Kit Peak use SGP? I don't know if he's asking that, or if he's
I'm not
asking
sure.
that. I mean, any ASCOM, a home dome has ASCOM drivers. I'm trying to think of the other one.
Dylan
Pure Tech.
O'Donnell went in. Dylan O'Donnell went into that, because his dome is set up with his ASCOM drivers.
He's got a home
So
dome.
Yeah,
that
he's
it'll
got
track.
he's got a
It'll
NextDome.
track with his
Next dome. Okay.
scope.
Yeah.
Yeah. So next dome, Telescope Innovations home dome, government. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, imagine that, Dan's always riding on me about switching out filters, because I don't have a filter wheel. Imagine having to stay on track with the dome, as your telescope is moving across the sky. You got to go out every, maybe every hour and move the dome a little bit. Yeah, that would suck.
Yeah. No, I had I had one of the benefits of building 2 years ago or a year and a half ago. I know we spoke about it on the show, an observatory in Southold I was building, and how let me not building, setting up. It was already built, but it was a mess, so we were fixing it. And it was a home dome from Technical Innovations, Telescope Innovations, in Florida. And I'm sorry, not Telescope, Technical Innovations. I apologize. And every time the telescope moved like a half a degree, the dome would move. So it was all set up like that with the ASCOM drivers. So the dome would follow the scope, and it would keep that shutter centered on that scope, where that scope is pointed in the center, so you wouldn't have that problem. So God forbid you had to go and move that dome. I've done that. It's not fun, especially when the dome's made out of concrete. It's bad.
Yeah.
By the end of the night, you got your workout. Yeah, that's what I thought you were talking about, Jim. I don't know if any pro like Kid Peak, like Monarchy. I don't know what they use for SGP. I would tell you that a lot of the like iTelescope and stuff like that, they use SGP in some of their scopes, but I don't know. I could do some research and find out for you, but I'll tell you right now, I've been using SGP for about 2 years, and I love it. However, I just made the leap to the dark side, and I've been playing with Nina for the past couple of days. So,
Let me ask you something here, Dan.
yeah.
Troubleshooting. Say if you had a sequence that went awry,
Okay.
or something like that, or that overnight. Now, one thing I learned is, because I've had this happen to me quite often, is that they have a log within the ASI Air
Yep.
where you can actually, either through the flash drive, or I can actually pull it up on my computer. I can look at a log
Yep.
for the auto run, how it ran that previous night, as well as the PhD guiding. It'll, has logs there for every time I'm running this. I'm assuming SGP would have something very similar, and
Yep.
where does that usually sit? So people, if they want to troubleshoot, where would they go?
So when you go, I think it's under help. Where is it? Yeah, under help, and I'll bring it on over. Let me bring it on over to the screen real quick. Everything's messing up. Why won't you go to? Oh, that's why. Give me a second. I really got to get another table, so I have a mouse. Okay, so here is Sequence Generator Pro again. And if you go to Help, and you go to View Log or Open Log Folder, that's where you're going to get your logs. So this is a log file for today, everything that we've done so far. So you can find out at the end if it crashed. Don't worry about all this stuff. This is kind of craziness. But you want to kind of look at stuff like this. End sequence dump is one of the things you want to look at. And then that's where you're going to start finding your errors. We stopped a plate solve here, so that's why I kind of dumped. But that's how you get it. So you go right from help to view log. If you have a log from other days that you saved, like I have a couple here. This is from 2021, June 26th. So here, let's see. What was I imaging? Plate solve, run script, blah, blah, blah. Frame type. Connecting the camera, cooldown. It'll tell you all your... See, here's an issue that I had. Focus or return crazy temperature. I mean, that was an issue that I had. So we had a problem with the focuser there. It actually minus 127 degrees. It said, yeah, that's not yeah.
Typical New York winter.
Yeah, you know, in June. That's June.
Yeah.
And why did Eric? I'm sure they could hear you, but I can't.
Yeah, it's lost me again.
Now I got you again. I don't know why you're fading off. They can hear you. It's on my side.
Gotcha.
And then you just go to your list, and you can see where you got. And this is the end of the sequence where I'm disconnecting everything.
Gotcha. So, and just FYI for ASI Air users, I'll share if you want me. I can share my screen here real quick, and I can show you.
Yeah.
So let me go ahead and toggle screen sharing here. And bring up the ASI Air. But actually, what I'm going to do is, if I can go to my ASI Air, because like I said, mine is on my network, so it's a little bit easier for me to get to mine. And can you see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So I can go to my UDisk images, which is basically your USB drive, because the ASI Air Pros come with USB drives. You can actually install a USB flash drive to expand your capacity.
Gotcha.
Or the images are on the traditional SD card. So everything I have is on my USB drive, so I can go here and I can go to UDisk and ASI Air, and I can go here to log. And it gives me the information for our auto run and the PHD2 guide log. So for example, I was having some issues on the 17th. So I can go here to this auto run, and if I expand this here, I can look where it's where it's starting, and it's slewing,
Yep.
and then everything was running fine until I can go down here, right here, where the guiding, it was failing, so it kept saying like guide star lost.
Yep.
You know, so that's when, so when I was looking at my images, I was like, why are they, why is everything star trailing?
We got clouds.
It was, yeah, because I ended up having clouds,
Yeah.
and I started getting this because we had chatted about this a little while,
Yeah.
earlier, and then it also gives you other information about as far as your meridian flip, if it, that was fine, your solving was succeeded, all that stuff. So even if so for ASI Air users, if they wanted to troubleshoot their sequence from the previous night, if things didn't go well, or if things did well and you still want to check out overall how things went, you can do that here in the auto log, and it can even tell you information as far as your EAF when it did its automatic focusing and the positions
Yeah.
and what the stars it detected. So it gives you a lot of good information here.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's the same as I haven't figured out where that is in Nina yet, because again, I've only been playing with it for about a couple days. But I gotta be honest with you, I'll get you back on all three again.
Yep.
And I gotta be honest with you, I like it, and I know we're running a little bit short on time, but
Scott looks bored.
Scott looks like he's ready to pass out.
Yeah, like
You're right, bud?
I've been working like crazy the last couple of days. I literally am fighting sleep.
Yeah, all right. Fair enough. Fair enough. I appreciate you taking one for the team. So,
No, I couldn't leave you guys high and dry.
so I'll show you now. Now, Nina is a little different. Actually, it's a lot different. And I'm going to close out, and I'm going to share my screen again for Nina real quick. And come on, there we go. And I'll load up Nina, and it's really a more in-your-face kind of setup. So you don't have to go crazy with a lot of stuff. So, for example, it's a little weird for the way this is kind of set up is kind of weird. So basically the left side here is your main menu, and this is your sub menu here. So if I were to go to Sky Atlas, all that would change for framing, Flat Wizard, Sequencer, and so on. But the beginning, the equipment is very easy. So if you load up your ASCOM drivers, like I have this set up already, for QSI, you could just connect and you're done. And that's all connect. So the thing that's great about this, I think, is this button right here. And you can do this with Sequence Generator Pro by, I believe it's Alt-D, where it's connect all, but it's right there. So if I want to connect everything, do you want to connect all devices? Yes, I do. So now, as you can see, you got power, you got power, you got power, you got power, and everything's powered now. You don't have to worry about it because you had it set up here. If you set it up here first and then you just connect all, it'll connect all based on your last settings. So if you change your camera, you'll just have to change the drop down to another camera. Very easy. And it'll load up all your sensor size, X and Y, minimum exposure, maximum exposure, binning, microns on your pixel size, your cooling. If you want to turn it on, you hit the snowflake and now it's on. It's very intuitive. I like it. And this graph is kind of cool too. So it tells you your sensor temperature and the cooler power. I just turned it on, so it shot up because it's hot as crazy outside and it's humid. So over time, I'll probably end up in the 40-35% range on the cooler. You can check your filter wheel. Check your filters if they're in the right slots. And it's all kind of in your face, like right there. Your focuser settings, all it has is a COM port because I have the Asado on there. I have a manual rotator. Okay. I have my telescope, which is all connected. It'll tell you I'm connected through. I'm an HEQ 5.6 with EQ ASCOM, EQ mod. And then you get into, what is this? Camera is unable to reach the target temperature. That will happen sometimes if it takes too long and it's too high. It'll eventually get there, so we'll just close that. The good thing about this is the Flat Wizard and the Sequencer. It's very easy. So the Flat Wizard, if I want to take, this is my last settings, it doesn't go bias, it goes dark flats, whether it's CCD or CMOS. Doesn't matter. But you could have it take zero dark flats if you want, or the same amount as your regular flats. And what it will do is it will take your dark flats at the same time as your flats automatically. It'll just say either cover it if you don't have a mechanical shutter, or just go on and your mechanical shutter will take care of it. Just take care of leak lights. And you press play and it goes. And it's really, really cool. It's very similar to the Flats Wizard in SGP. And Eric, I don't know why you keep on turning off.
ADU.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Eric. What was that?
So basically, will it calculate based off of? Will it calculate your ADU, or give you any type of information? Say, where your ideal ADU should be based off of, maybe taking a couple test exposures.
Well, you
anything
can
like that?
use the information. I just found this out from SharpCap Sensor Analysis and dump it into Nina. Okay, so that's the first thing. The second thing is it knows your maximum well depth already. So based on what you want, right here in this row right here, histogram mean target, I'm set at a 50% histogram.
Gotcha.
If I wanted less, I could go less. If I wanted more, I could go more. It doesn't matter. But right now, I set it at 50.
Sure.
Okay? And then it gives you a tolerance. I have a 10% tolerance, so anywhere between 36 and 29. Maybe a little high. I'm just playing around with it still. I usually like to be about the 28 to 30 range.
Now, have you actually started doing any sequences with Nina yet?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
2 nights ago. 2 nights ago, I did 5 images, 5-minute images, plus the flats and the flat darks.
Okay.
Dark flats. Excuse me. Whatever. Now, the sequencer is actually pretty interesting. So I have a sequence that I made last night, and I can actually open that sequence. So if I just load the target, and I was doing the crescent last night, I open it up, and there's my sequence. The sequence is on. Let's say I want 5 images at 300 seconds, 5 minutes, whatever. It's a light. Change the filter to whatever I want, and I dither every frame.
Okay.
And then you run. And then it slews, it plate cells, everything just like SGP or the ASI Air. And that's where I'm at so far with Nina. And the really cool thing about Nina, and I'm going back to live. So, and Scott's sleeping. He's all right. We're almost done, Scott. We'll let you go. But the best thing about Nina, it's extremely functional, and it's free. And it has a bunch of cool plugins that I'll throw Sean Nielsen a shout out right now, because I was talking to him today, because he's a big time Nina user, and I said, "Hey, you got any tricks of the trade?" He's like, "Check out the plugins because I don't have any loaded right now, but there's because it's all open source, so people are making stuff for Nina and dumping it in the repositories that you could download. So there's a polar alignment routine that he was messing with, and it's very, very similar to SharpCap, from what from what I hear. But I'm interested to see what that is. I'm really in the infancy of playing with this, but first impressions, I like it. I like it.
Does it? I'm assuming it has its own type of very like with SGP, the framing and mosaic wizard. So I'm sure it may have something like that, or does it not?
Yeah, no, it does. Let me get it back up real quick, and I'll show you real quick. It's a little different, but it does the same stuff. So let me show you real quick. And let me switch on over to desktop. There we go. And, all right, so let's say I wanted to frame. Okay? Now, remember how you went and did a picture? You could do that. Let's, like, by going to File. If I wanted to plate solve to the Crescent Nebula that I had already, we could do that. But let's say, depending on whichever one you want, I just picked the top one. Doesn't matter. Let's say I wanted to do again. We'll do M42 again. Okay? And load image. And now it should, in a couple of seconds, pop up with a picture of M42. Come on, you can do it. It's moving a little slow. Of course, it's not working because we're on live now. But, and do I want to try a different image? Because it is not a winter, it's a winter object. So let's try M31. Oh, there we go. So we got it. So there's M42. Okay? So now, if I wanted to frame this like that, let's say, or again, same thing, rotate. Let's say I wanted it like that, whatever. At this point, I would add target to sequence or add target to target list. Either one. I like doing it to target list because then it saves it. From what I see, add target to sequence, and if I go to simple sequencer, which is where we were at before, it will add it there. And you'll see well, now it says M31, but it's really M42. But it'll say that, and you start setting it up like normal. Then you could go back to the framing and slew and center. And then it'll plate solve from there. Now, there is a way that I'm still playing with in the advanced sequencer, because there is an advanced sequencer. If I can find out where it is, it might be under, where's the advanced sequencer? And of course I can't find it right now. Autofocus, imaging. I'm blowing a brain fart right now. But there's an advanced sequencer where you could actually give it instructions on what to do first, second, and third if you wanted to change it. Like do a focus routine or do another plate solve after a meridian flip, or when to do meridian flip. You could do all of these settings. So Eric, you
When
shut
you
off.
brought up when you brought up M42, I did see where you can add your panels, so
Yep.
you can add multiple panels and you have your overlap and everything like that.
Yep. Here are your
Um,
panels over here, like that.
yep, exactly.
And just like you had, again, this is a winter object, so that's why this graph doesn't show where you would see it. But if I were to change it to, let's say,
Say NGC 7000.
sure, load image, give it a second. Now I think with this telescope, all I'm going to get is the wall, but we'll see.
Sure, but no, but it would give you a good idea here, and then and then I see down at the bottom, it has a time frame,
Yeah,
so
so
now
right
you can
here.
have it set up. Yep,
So let's say, let's just call it 10 to 3. And that's
exactly.
kind of where it'll be. So right now it's loading up the picture. There we go. So if I go back down to a single panel, I get quite a bit. But
You get quite a bit still. Yeah.
that would make a good picture, kind of like that.
Oh yeah, just the wall. Yeah. Oh
Kind of
yeah.
like that. And then you would slew and center. You would add target to either your target list or to the current sequence. And that's it. Then you would go to your sequence and then play. Set up obviously your settings here. And you're done.
Yep. Nice.
And you're done. I like that stuff. I mean, I like
Cool,
it
man.
so far. It's pretty cool.
Good. Good.
It's pretty cool. I think I'm going to enjoy it.
Good.
Do we have any questions online? Because we're coming up on.
No, but we have a few comments just to let you know. Like, say, Chris was saying NASA server's really slow. You might want to use
STCI.
STCII.
Okay.
It's much faster. Or Mark was saying Sky Atlas. And oh, okay. Sean's on
Yep.
Visible Dark, and he said you have to convert this simple sequence to the advanced sequencer in order to see it.
Thank you, Sean.
So
Yeah, so-
yeah, okay.
I mean, again,
good info.
I've been playing with this for 2 days. So, Sean, I sent you a shout out about 30 minutes ago about regarding some hints and tricks that you kind of gave me. So, thank you for being an outlet not only for information but my frustration. So, so thank you so much.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we went over the ASI Air, SGP, and Nina very quickly. This is only a very slight discussion on what these things can definitely take care of, and the powerful programs that they actually are. We really didn't show that, but just to give you a background of what you could use and things that, if you're in the ZWO ecosystem, like Eric said, the ASIR may suit you.
Right, you could.
Otherwise, SGP, which Scott went over, may work for you. Now, if you, like I am, which had an S-Big camera, I was not able to use Nina until I purchased a QHY because the drivers weren't available for Nina. So I'm super excited to play with a new piece of software, even though it means learning another language, pretty much. But,
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah,
But no, this is some, these are the more popular acquisition type pieces in sequence software, at least that I know of.
Mhm.
I'm sure there may be a few others here and there that I may not be aware of, but SGP is very, very popular, and it's been around for years.
Yep.
So, and the ASI Air, and to Dan's point, it has its place, but you have to be in that ecosystem.
Yeah.
You know, I'm in that ecosystem, so it works for me. If I decided to go ahead and, get a Moonlight or something like that, then I'm no longer in that, that
Yep.
ecosystem, and then I'll have to move to something like SGP or a Nina. Now, Nina looks really good, and to your point, it's open source. There's a lot of add-ons and plugins that are out there to make it help it, help improve it. And the best part is that it's free versus spending, the 240 or 280 on the ASI Air,
Right.
or getting a subscription for SGP. So
Yeah,
that
that's
it does
like
have its
$59 a year or something like that.
yeah, so it has its advantages. So everybody, so it's just, pick your poison, or pick your favorite wine, whichever one you like. That's the one you're gonna, that's when you're gonna end up going with.
Or your Long Island iced tea.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but Scott looks like he's about ready to pass out. So I think maybe we
it's
might
time to
want
close
to wrap
up.
things up.
Yeah.
What time is it? Oh,
It's
almost 11.
10:45. At 9:45 for Mr. Eric over there. And, just on a side note, in anticipation of the Apple TV release of Foundation, I started reading the iRobot novels again. So,
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I started reading them again. So, 'cause
Okay.
I think that they're going to go. The main character in Foundation was too young to be the beginning of the novels for Foundation. Because if you know Foundation, the main character was already almost dead already.
Yeah,
He was in a wheelchair and whatever. But it's going to be interesting. I know that a famous robot from the robot novels is in the first season. So I'm excited about that.
Cool. I'm looking forward to checking it out. Because I have Apple TV Plus as well, so I'm looking forward to checking it out.
And if you're into like the angels, demons kind of story stuff, check out Evil.
Yeah.
Check it out.
Yeah. It's on CBS, is it not? And I think that now it's also got something either on Netflix or Hulu or something like that.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
Yeah, it's got
That is
2
quite interesting.
seasons on Netflix. The third one's coming out this year.
Yeah.
It's with the guy. He was in Lost. He played the nerd in Lost. He also played the computer wacko in Person of Interest. He's a really cool actor. I like him.
And he plays the bad guy.
Yeah, he plays a really. He plays a
really
total
big
demon. Yeah, he's like.
Yeah.
He's totally psychopathic. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, it is. It's crazy.
But anyway, those are my 2 sci-fi tangents. So
There you go. So
All right.
very cool. Very cool.
so
man.
that being said, so that's Nina, SGP, and ASI Air. If you have any questions, guys, and Scott's not gonna mind so much because he's sleeping, so I'll throw the email up there across his face. And feel free to hit us up, and I'm gonna update this to have everybody's email on there. You could either contact all of us at info@astroworldweb.com or at whoever's first name you may want to discuss with at astroworldweb.com. So Dan, Eric, Scott, Tegan, Jason, and Tyler. You could get us all at astroworldweb.com and check out the website. Eric, I promise your stuff will be up this week. I'm on vacation this week from my real job.
Okay.
So
That's fine.
I just haven't had a chance. I've been dealing a lot with the social media calendar, and since last week we've gotten 15 subscribers. So
Nice.
So we're getting about 2 a day. So I'll get that off your
Okay.
face again, Scott. There you go.
Very cool.
Yeah.
But no, this was a great show. I hope it was informative for many folks. And we continue to appreciate everybody hopping on, and the new subscribers. Welcome. I hope you know, enjoy the content we're bringing to you. And if you have any suggestions, shoot us an email. We would be more than happy to read that and get back to you. So very good.
Scott, any parting yawns?
Absolutely. No, I just those questions. The only stupid question is the one that you don't ask. So, and I'll make sure that you put it out there.
Let's put it out there.
I got
so here's
two
a question for
like
me.
that.
Where's my reducer?
It's coming. It's coming. Killing me.
That's
right
behind
my.
I can't do anything about
behind my filters.
Yeah.
No word on the filters yet either, is there?
No, nothing. They said 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago. So.
Yep.
I mean, it's being paid off. I'm paying it off. I'm just waiting, just like the rest of us. But I got two sayings like that. The first one is, there are no stupid questions, only stupid people. That's the first one. The second one is, you may be better now, but you still suck. You just suck a little less than everybody else. So, so those are the things that I always tell my managers and people that think they're awesome and are not. But that being said, we don't have our normal closer because Jason is...
he's in Sin City.
Yeah, he's working in Vegas. So
Vegas.
we wish Jason a safe trip home. And Tyler, I know he's going through craziness with his little kid. So he's got to take care of that. And we'll see Scott and Tegan probably on Friday night. So I guess that's it, guys. So thank you for watching. Come check us out on YouTube and on the website. And we'll see you Friday night for the beginners Q&A with myself, Scott, and maybe Tegan if he's not smoked out with fires and all that stuff. Hurricanes and typhoons and everything.
All that fun stuff.
That being said, have a good night, everybody. And remember, keep imaging, keep educating, and clear skies. And we'll see you in a couple days. Have a good night.